Okay, so this is a pretty neat little incubator. I don't have any fertilized eggs in there right now. They're all eating eggs, but I'm just gonna kind of show you everything it does. It was pretty easy to set up. I plugged it into the wall. There's also an option to use a battery, which is kind of cool if you're putting it in a place without power. It comes with rollers. You don't have to use them all depending on the size of your eggs. You know, if you're using duck eggs that are really large, you might need even less than just the ones that I have in there for the chicken eggs. It comes with the spray bottle that, you know, towards the end, you kind of spray them a couple times a day. And it comes with this bottle. The cap was kind of finicky to screw on, but you can get it on if you apply enough pressure, and you'll need to cut off the end here to squirt the water in below to make sure the humidity stays. If you look here, you can kind of see the little holes that you'll squirt that water into. It does show you nicely, like, hey, right there. You can kind of see my my eating eggs on the inside. But yeah, it was easy there. The menu is nice and easy to read. You can change the settings on how hot or cold. It does have an alarm. I turn the alarm off because I'm not going to actually incubate these eggs. But it does also in the booklet give you a nice, you know, different types of eggs, and then the incubation period, and then the day that you'd stop the turner on. So for chicken eggs, incubation period is 21 days, and so you would turn them until day 18, and that's the day you stop the turning. So opening it up, and we'll look inside. This top just comes off. I'll just set it to the side there, because it is attached to those turners. They're slowly going to turn them. They do have you mark your eggs, that way you can kind of make sure you are getting them turned. I use one side X's and one side O's just to kind of peek in there and make sure things are turning okay. Like I said, like you can, if I take some of them all over here. So these can move over. There's different slots. And they just fit in nicely for your different sizes of eggs. So see my chicken egg, that is not going to work there. So you can definitely fit it to different sizes of eggs, which is nice. And then on that, for the chicken egg, for the day 18, you would stop turning them. And so that's when you just take out the rollers, and you would set the eggs carefully on this mesh. It's like a plastic little insert, and so you don't have to worry about chicks getting stuck in rollers or anything. Like, they're not going to hatch following that incubation period, as long as you make sure you remove the rollers before that day 18, which they're super easy to take out. Like, they just sit in those slots, and there's a gear on the other, like a screw on the other side, and the drive hooks up into the lid. And this does disconnect, so you can disconnect the top fully, but I'm not going to do that right now. So that's nice. Let me put the lid back on. And it does have that built-in candling feature. It senses when there's an egg on there, so it's not going to turn on. You don't see the light, but if I were to put, I guess I'll turn off my upper light. So the light doesn't turn on. But if I put an egg in there and push the same button, you kind of have to hold it down. That was off. Oh, come on. So it was working before. Why aren't you working now? So the candling I guess, feature is a little finicky. I haven't quite figured it out. The manual says just to push the button with the egg on there in a dark room. I'm not sure. It worked earlier. Here, I'll try and plugging it back in. Maybe that'll work. Egg. Nope. Well, it worked earlier. Oh my goodness. There's the alarm. Yes, I understand. You're not at the proper temperature. Hit the minus, turn off the... Yep, some candling feature for me is hit or miss. I had trouble with it when I first started trying to figure out how it worked, and I thought I figured it out because then it was working, but then when I try and film it, it doesn't work. So, I give up.
Ok, quindi i rulli andranno posizionati da questo lato alla distanza che ci occorre e loro faranno ruotare le uova. Ora la monto del tutto e la vediamo. Ok, ora connettiamo questo spinottino che si trova nella parte inferiore a questo connettore sopra e proviamo a collegare l'alimentazione. Connesso i fili, questo si infila tra il coperchio. Ora connettiamo qua lo spinotto dell'alimentazione. Nel frattempo ho notato che sul foglio di istruzioni c'è scritto che uova di gallina, 23-25 giorni, fagiano, tacchino, anatra, oca, cigno, piccione, pavone, Quindi basta seguire le indicazioni e dovrebbe andare tutto per il verso giusto. Bisogna aggiungere anche dell'acqua in quantità come descritto per creare un'umidità superiore al 50%. Eccolo qui. Ho connesso l'alimentatore. La ventola si è accesa. Indicazione dell'umidità, 68%. Indicazione della temperatura. Con questo facciamo partire i rulli che faranno girare le nostre uova. La luce qua sopra. Temperatura. Impostiamo quello che ci serve. Ok, semplice. Tutto qui. Niente di complicato. Bisogna solo cercare delle uova da far nascere.
So I decided to do probably the most basic, I don't want to say review of the incubator, but just kind of a heads up for those looking to order it. It feels far less stout than I had anticipated. I mean, it feels very flimsy. That may not kind of factor into its effectiveness, but I was expecting a bit more. Power cable leads right out of the top, which is kind of convenient for me considering it's going right up against the counter in the kitchen. And I can look over on the side and get a great view of the eggs. The wiring, again, this thing was $60, and I mean there's literally maybe $3 worth of plastic and another $5 worth of wiring and circuitry. Doesn't mean it doesn't work, it just feels so cheap. And again, it may work wonderful. This is the first day we got the eggs in. I started out with 8. And, so this is strange. So, I keep trying to turn on the rotator, and it keeps cutting itself off. So, what the heck is the use of it if it's not rotating my eggs? Well, we'll see how it works. Anyway, just like I said, a brief heads up. Really feels flimsy, but we'll see in 21 days how well it works or not. Thanks. Oh, look at that. Yeah, rotator stayed on this time.
Io l'ho accesa, diciamo che funziona tutto tranne la cosa principale, che è la rotazione. I tubi non ruotano assolutamente, non si muovono per nulla, è completamente fermo. Dovrebbe ruotare molto lentamente, ma non c'è alcun movimento. Presumo ci sia una rottura da qualche parte, ma non so dove. Poi qui abbiamo una luce che si attiva premendo questo tasto. Qui c'è un foro di areazione, qua si collega all'alimentazione e poi qui ci sono le varie modalità per controllare la temperatura, l'umidità. E purtroppo insomma questa mi sembra che non funzioni correttamente. Tutto immobile.
Pour mirer. Pour la température. Le taux d'humidité. Vous pouvez augmenter ou baisser. Voilà. Donc à l'intérieur, vous mettrez les œufs. Et ceci, c'est pour pouvoir les tourner. Alors, ce que j'aime bien sur cette machine, c'est qu'on n'a plus besoin de l'ouvrir. Et bien, l'eau, on vient la placer ici. Magnifique. Voyez.
Oh my goodness.